drink. I was on the phone with my mom. Oh, whoops, I'm live. Hey, you guys, good morning. I'm a little live. Sorry. I was a little slow today. I got on the phone with my mom and we were a little chatting. I was like, Mom, I gotta go. I got a minute to go. Anyways, good morning, you guys. Tangi just corrected me. It is Q&A this morning. So although we'll talk a little bit about this topic, we are Q&A. Ambi, good morning. Wheat Tree, good morning. Compass Rose, good morning. Farmer Meemaw made it to the live stream.
Yay!
Oh, yeah.
Farmer Meemaw is killing it on keto.
Amen.
She, what she said, like, this is the first time that she has, like, I think, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Farmer Meemaw, but like she was saying, like, this is the first time in a long time that she has found something that she feels like she can stick with. And she's even shown her little test strip, and she's like, I am a fat burning machine. Awesome.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Erica says she likes my hair. We were just talking about that, Erica, for just a moment. Good morning, Peace and Pantry. Okay. Tangi said how good I look. And then I said, well, let's talk truth. I've yet to put a bra on. I'm half pajama in it. I left the AC running in the schoolhouse, so I'm cold. And this is a flannel jacket. I've done nothing. I've had 3 cups of coffee and have yet to decide to start my day. But I'm accountable to be here, so I'm here.
Yeah.
And then we're talking about, like, we're going back and forth on how to pull off this hair. But I think Tangi's a little bit in the same mode as I am.
Yeah. Well, I've been sick for the last few days. Like, this is the first time I actually woke up in the morning and had a voice, even though my voice is weird. But the last couple of mornings I woke up and I could barely speak above a whisper.
So Tangi says I have to come out of my shell and have to probably talk more than usual. And I need to get over it to do it. Hey, Danielle says the first time making it to a live show. Whoop, whoop, upstate New York. Leslie says, so it's been over 2 months, but hey.
I know, Leslie, I missed you.
Meemaw says, first time I've ever been able to lose weight. Compass is bragging about laying in bed. Shame on you. Leslie says, go Meemaw. Everybody's like, go Meemaw. Go Meemaw to lose weight. Peace and Pedro says she's getting ready for her first cup. Yeah. I need to watch it because I'll be on cup 3.
Is 6 times there? Oh, there she is.
She?
Yeah.
Where's she at? Mine hasn't updated yet.
Okay, yeah. She's up there.
Oh, is she up there? Good morning, 6 times. Ambi says good morning. Erica says I'm doing that Judi Dench look and I'm rocking it. I'm gonna have to look her up because I'm so sheltered. I got no idea who that is.
She's a classic lady.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to. I gotta write her down.
I'm trying to think of what movies she's been in. But yeah, she's an English actress. But yeah, you do. Of course, she has salt and pepper hair. But
hey, I got salt hair. I just dye it. Hey, I have to show you. I do a lot of. I have a girlfriend that is so creative. She comes up with the neatest things, and I can make them. I just lack inspiration. So she's doing all these different. I'm totally giving her thing away. She's on Instagram called Cheson, CHESON_mom, is her thing. I'm gonna write it here. I'm gonna show you what we made. At Ches. This is my walking partner. Anyway, she is doing a teacher appreciation today for her kids. Y'all are going to love this. Y'all are going to go crazy over this. She got the egg cartons from, I think, Tractor Supply, the little cardboard ones. She cut them in half, and she's sending backyard eggs to school for her daughter. Yeah. So I think she's Instagramming. The way she finished them is adorable. She came to me and I made her labels. Now she's going to figure out how to make a big sign. So you guys ready? This is so cute. Her daughter's name is Chesney. So this is her on Instagram. It's Chesney's Chick In.
That is cute.
And then the very bottom says, fresh from the coop to the kitchen daily.
Cute.
So I designed it, but it was all her ideas. So you got to follow her on Instagram because she like has these like crazy adorable dogs. Okay, that's my plug for my bestie.
Cute.
But I love the way it turned out. I'm like, why don't I think of things like that? I would never think. I'd never make it that cute because half of it's packaging.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie Goff said she just found out yesterday that they have to move in 4 weeks, 1,100 miles. Woo! Listen, you tell me I got to pack and I'm going to go into convulsions. I hate moving. Compass says she's sick too. Not bragging. She's just sick. Leslie said she went to Texas twice, became a grandma, and had my mom visit for 2 months. My mom is here. You guys want to see how good my mom looks? Here she is. Look.
Hey, look at you.
Here, you gotta sit down. Okay. Let me see. I'll do the thing. We're doing question and answers today.
Oh, okay.
And I gotta make sure I got her in the screen. Let's see.
Yep.
Oh yeah, you're in the screen. I'll do it like that.
All right.
They said I'm doing a Judy Dench look today. Classic. I know. I'm gonna look her up afterwards. Leslie says, "Oh, in round two today, 4 of the whole 30. How are you liking the whole 30? I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna lie. It's too controlling, too legalistic. 6 times blessed says I'm nursing a gymnast. Oh my goodness, I know those days. May I say good morning? Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say there's an echo. She showed a picture. She was nursing this week and got bit.
Oh, Mom. Wait. Mama Butterflies. Wait, that's not Mama Butterfly. Who said it? Erica says she loves your dress. It's a shirt.
That's really cute.
Isn't that cute? That's like the whole thing going on right now. The whole sleeveless thing.
What do they call that? The cold shoulder or something?
Cold shoulder, like it.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. All right, let's see. She looks so cute. Look at that sassy shirt. That's what they're saying. They love your shirt. 6 times blessed. I remember nursing a social butterfly. Oh yeah, we did it last May, and I loved it. This time it's a little more difficult for me. So that's what a lot of people are getting, this no voice sick thing. Not me. I'm all voice. So that's kind of what I'm running into, like what Leslie said. So she's doing the did your book dry? Oh no, yeah, it's trash. I'm gonna post an Instagram photo, the book that got thrown in the toilet.
Oh yeah. Well, I want to say goodbye. I got to go to work.
She's just passing.
I'm just passing through.
All right.
Nice seeing you again, Candy.
Good to see you.
Does she look good though?
Yeah,
She
this is like
fabulous.
7 miles of walking almost every other night.
Last time you were on, was that
That's
December or January?
January, I think.
I think so, January too. So since then, like she's right at or smaller than I am.
Wow, you're awesome.
But I do weigh more.
She weighs more, but I mean, isn't that normal? And
Yeah.
I think and some of it is like I started gaining weight, so she's just gonna keep passing me up.
And I do go to the gym. I go to the gym and I walk. So I do that all the time. Of course, I don't have 6 kids to take care of.
Right.
Yeah, bye. All right,
Bye.
I love you too. I'll plug myself back in. Bye, Mom.
Mommy Geek is here. Did you
Oh,
see
she's
the
just like
picture where she sent me a sweet little package in the mail?
I know. Where's mine? I'm just gonna put it out there because I'm not gonna lie. I was like totally jelly. I was jellyfishing it the whole time.
Well, what was awesome though, and I don't know if she knows this or not, I have a garden flag that I put in my garden every year, and it's a basket and it's got fruits and vegetables in it, and it says "Be green, grow your own." I can't find it anywhere. And so I was like, well, maybe I guess I'll just have to either buy one or find, or make another one. But now I don't have to because she sent me that cute little, it's burlap. And it's, for those of you who haven't seen it, Mommy Geek sent me a package and there's a garden flag. It's a burlap mason jar with lemonade in it. and it's got a straw, and I can't remember what the little tag says, but anyway, it's so cute. And then it's got a black and white polka dot ribbon on it. It's so Southern.
It is. It's adorable. It's on Instagram too, right?
It is.
All right, we got somebody new in here. We got Rainy W1021. Hello, Rainy. She said, I read Wheat Belly and had to jump in this conversation. All right, Rainy, let me give you a heads up since you're new in here. We run about an hour. Today's the first of the month, so we tend to do more questions and answers, and we're talking about just the struggles that get in front of us about finding fit for us. And it's a roller coaster ride, just like life is. Oh my goodness, Mama Geek said if I send her my address, I'll get you that. I'll get you that.
She's so sweet.
All right, I'm dancing. Sorry. Okay, so here's my thing. So just then, like, perfect mom popped in. My mom looks fantastic. My mom looks incredibly fantastic. And so she has just been doing what she's been doing. She didn't make heavy changes last September. She just made some very, like, she got off the soda. She's a big time soda drinker, diet soda. She really kept her portions to a portion and smaller meals, more regular eating. That's all she's done. Sometimes she skips out and has a shake instead of a meal, but that's all she's done, and she hasn't changed it too much. I think as she's gotten farther, like when I jumped on the keto bandwagon in February or in March, she kind of picked up some of that again, but not too much. And then, but she walks and she goes to the gym. She is exercising like crazy. And then I kind of had my, can I tell you how thankful I was? And this goes on to the Wheat Belly. Why I'm so thankful I didn't make a pile of videos while I was doing ketogenics. Because if you were stuck on the phone with me, you were like, this is awesome. This is so fantastic. I feel so great. And I know how good I felt. And I'm standing on, let this be day one. Every day I'm like, let this be day one again. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. I made pumpkin pancakes covered in high fructose corn syrup. And in the course of 2 weeks, I am bloated huge. Now, granted, I was having and I think it was all Shark Week, Rainy. Shark Week is literally PMS, just if you don't know, that's Shark Week. We need to make some t-shirts up or something and be like, Shark Week.
Don't talk to me. Her name is Rachel Ann, is what our Ann stands for.
All right, Rachel, we'll know what to call you. So I was just all Shark Week in it, and I was just having normal Shark Week things, and it was no worse than any other time, any of that. Well, let me tell you, I just went off. I was like, whatever, I'm going to go off. And I went off, and I was like, I feel like crap. Excuse me. But I do. I feel like crud. And every day I feel like crud. Every day I'm getting that bloated belly feeling. And I'm going to show y'all my slim little belly. I got it. Let's not show skin. It's pushing back out there again. I mean, that's crazy. I was all like this all the time. And now I'm like, ugh. And I'm just kind of along the like, I'm just kind of like, are you kidding me? This is all, like my belly is swollen. Normal clothes, my normal clothes I'm not wearing well because I am swollen. And I'm like, this is Wheat Belly. And, and I'm not going to tell you it's fat. Well, thanks, Erica. She says I look great. I'm going to have to put her on BFF status. Tell me the words I need to hear. But it's just along the lines of, I am bloated out, and that circular bloated look isn't necessarily fat. And we've talked about that before. And I really think it comes down to just being the gas and everything that happens from digesting the wheat and digesting the carbs and digesting. And I do look good. I'm not gonna lie. I look good enough. I mean, I don't want to call it that way, but I look good enough. And I know I was telling Tangi's like, remember how low I was? I'm this weight. I'm not telling your weight. That's your business. You tell them if you want. You're so brave. Because now remember, I was 152 at Christmas. And I last time I weighed, I was 162, and I'd gotten down to like 159 on keto. I will not go. No, I will not. You know, I won't get on the scale. I'm fixing to start arguing with Erica because she said she saw me pushing my belly out. No, I was holding it in so I could pull my shirt down, and then I had to relax it. Don't make me pull it out. I look pregnant. I look 6 months with one good. There's no ab wall there to hold it in. Besides, Erica, I have to do what I've got to do for views. We'll call it clickbait. Actually, it doesn't count. Good morning, Simply 7. So, I mean, I'm noticing like really quick, but then someone sent me a message and then had me go to their Instagram so she could post some pictures for me from a book. Did we talk about this, TJ? Have we talked about this on the phone? Where I think you're kind of with me on this one. There's a book made by Curves. The Curves made a book, and they said one of two things. Either you are carb sensitive or you are calorie sensitive. And they had this checklist on whether you're carb sensitive or not. So if you're carb sensitive, guess what works really well? Ketogenics, Trim Healthy Mama, you know, all these diets I can't get very far with are carb sensitive. When I went and spent the time and I took the test, because she posted on Instagram, I need to buy the book. I came up as calorie sensitive. So, you know, so in one ways, it doesn't really matter what I eat. It all, for me, comes down to calorie. But what I have noticed is I like the way I can digest food doing ketogenics, because even when I was doing Weight Watchers and I was losing the weight on Weight Watchers, I would bloat out, and I'm thinking I was bloating out because of the carbs. So just digesting the carbs I would choose to eat would mess me up, you know. But then you got to measure everything. So that's kind of where I'm at on it. How are you guys doing? Like, have you heard about like being carb and calorie sensitive? Because after this last year of like going between Trim Healthy Mama, going between Weight Watchers, I never lost weight on Trim Healthy Mama. I lose weight on Weight Watchers. And then I read, well, I'm not carb sensitive. You know, I could eat carbs. I could eat whatever 1,300 calories worth of carbs a day. I might be bloated, not fat, but bloated. I might be bloated, but I'll lose weight. That's my soapbox sermon, folks.
Well, I think, see, Erica says my trick with carbs is to eat only on the very last meal of the day. A small portion helps to keep appetite and cravings down. But I would also say that try fermented grains.
Yeah, we said we were going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, because that really does make a huge, huge difference. If you can sprout or ferment your grains.
And I can do that with white wheat, right?
Yes, absolutely. Whenever you make sourdough, you can absolutely use white flour, because during the fermentation process, it's breaking everything down. It's eating up the natural occurring sugars, which is why it causes the bubbly, causes your bread to rise. So, and then with that, because it's already broken down, your body is able to break it down easier, and you're not going to get that the gas and the bloat and all of that stuff. Plus, you get natural probiotics and all that good stuff. So
that's kind of where I'm wondering, like, so the fact that my belly's kind of puffed out, and so like it comes down to my belly's rounded out, really a lot more than it has. I don't think it's fat. I think it's literally gas.
It is.
And it's crazy.
Here's the thing. What's happening? Okay, so whenever you're making a sourdough starter, and you're seeing all the bubbling happening because of the breakdown and everything eaten up, if you don't do that before you eat it, it's going to happen in your belly. And so that's where all the air and the gas is coming from.
So Compass says, so much of my diet is carbs. Carbs are cheap and filling. It is. And my family loves carbs. And then Julie says, I think that sounds like truth. I'm sure I'm carb sensitive because I do very well on THM as long as I do S. Once I add E's, I start gaining. Wee Tree just called me out.
She sure did.
I've thought about 4 different times. I think I'm just gonna have to like. It's gonna be on a whim. I can't schedule it because, well,
here's the problem
crazy.
with me and Trish. Here's the problem with me and Trish. Is we
got problems, folks.
We have great ideas, and we'll say, "Hey, let's do blah blah blah," but then we don't have the time or the organization to get
do it all
accomplished, right?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like y'all might say Judi Dench. I feel like Ellen DeGeneres with this haircut. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, don't even say that. No, Judi Dench is much more classy, and
for all that, like Ellen and all that, I just don't consider her classy. I like classy and sassy.
Yeah, Judi Dench is both of those.
I think, y'all got me in a complex. I think what I'm going to do is next time I go to get cut, look, I got this part sticking up here. That's why I got the sunglasses so you don't see it. I'm going to make her cut it because, see, I have a lot of weight right here so that it will mohawk up. I'm going to have her cut it this way. And then I'll grow it out real cute, real whatever. Anyways, enough about my hair. I will get a sewing collab. Wait. I'll do a sew long. I don't know. We'll figure that out.
Yeah, well, you have to. I don't remember what your sewing collab idea was. I remember you talking about the sew along.
Yeah, I think somebody else talked about the sewing collab. I have to be like called and harassed and reminded. I'll be on it.
I have a couple of projects that I need to get done. It's just a matter of having the money to go get the fabric. I need to make new throw pillows.
Listen. You don't understand. This is just what's sitting around. Sometimes I buy it by the bolt.
So your craft room is basically Hobby Lobby.
No, because I don't carry all that other stuff. Well, I do. Look, there's another bolt. I don't know what you mean. I'm not sure if I got enough fabric.
I have fabric, but all the fabrics that I have are from when I did my Tangibly Southern business. But I need some. I need to do my throw pillows in my living room. So I've got to find a print that I like.
Look. You can go. Let's go shopping, and this is just what's out. Yeah, that's what I got. I got more over there. Wait. I got more over there, and what you can't look. I just bought this too. These are just current patterns. This was me getting ticked at a pattern. I got so aggravated. So I showed
That's
you
what
this
I do with fitted sheets.
I can fold fitted sheets.
Oh, I can't. I've tried. I've done all the videos. I'm like, and then I end up going throwing it down.
Hey, didn't I tell you all about this shirt that I haven't made a video on yet that I made? Didn't I show this last week?
Okay. You showed me a picture.
Yeah, because it's real. It bells out at the bottom, so then it makes it really weird. So then I was looking at the pattern because my girlfriend and I were because it comes as a shirt and a pair of pants, and we were looking at the pants. So I pulled. This is what happened yesterday. I pulled the pattern out because when I measured myself, my waist is not in the envelope size. It's like past the size 20, but my hips are a size 16, 14. So I pulled the pattern out to test if it would go around my waist. It won't fit. And then I'm like, well, does it not fit because I have this wheat belly right now, and if I go on ketos in 2 weeks, I'll be good? Kind of deal? I don't know. And then I'm like, well, if I do ketos, I'm okay so far because all I've had is heavy whipping cream and stevia. But that doesn't make me lose weight. If I do Weight Watchers, I already know. I don't have any idea how many points I've already just.
Right.
Anyways, I've missed everybody. I've like totally gone on my own tangent. Mama Geek says she feels that way, that she's carb sensitive. I do not have celiac disease, but when I eat too much carbs, I feel sluggish. carbs keep you craving, protein and fat keep you satisfied. And that's kind of what I ran into. Like the moment I ate some carbs, it was like I could not eat enough, and it made me aggravated. And instead of like getting right back onto keto or going into S mode, I just kept filling myself up. Simply Seven says, since I got a concussion, I have lost about 20 pounds. I think a lot of it is because I have been drinking water more than anything because of my meds.
Oh my goodness.
Makes her extra thirsty. I hate to say what a benefit.
Yeah.
Wheat Trees called me out saying, what? Yep, there was a club and naming other channels. Oh, I got to remember that. Wheat Tree, you're going to have to send me a message and remind me what I said, or I got to make time to go back and watch my own videos. Sue Ann says she's doing keto carbs under 20. Power to you. And I couldn't get into that mindset. Mama Geek says, and it is the thinking I turn to for comfort when I'm feeling anxiety and stress because it keeps me craving it. Then I keep coming back. Okay, that's talking about the carbs. Amy says she can't sew anything. Don't worry, most people can't. Leslie says pattern sizing is so weird. I did a rant on Facebook Live last week because I got so frustrated at the tweens. You want to talk about giving girls complex? Wow, they have.
Amber's comment was she can't sew anything because she lost the pedal to her machine.
Oh, go find a $30 machine at Goodwill. That's what I do. I lose. Believe it or not, I know this would be hard to imagine. I got to make sure I can see what you guys see. I'm sure it could be hard to imagine with as much order and organization as I naturally keep. I lose stuff all the time. I mean, like, you see how it's just, it just keeps going mass. Like, I like to turn it this way so it looks more orderly. Person. Oh, Lindsay says when she's not pregnant, she really enjoys keto. My husband stays on a low carb mode, but not strict keto. 6 Times Blessed says, I was told by a personal trainer that your body can only absorb 35 grams of protein at a time, and the rest will get flushed out. 6 Times, as I've been researching keto, I've read a lot that if you eat more than that like magic number, it actually turns to insulin and undoes your effort by undoes the effort you put forth. Oh, Farmer Mima's giving her recipes for Shark Week. And I think they're fat bombs. Yeah, they're pretty much fat bombs. I want to learn to sew. My mom told me she would give me her machine, but my grandmother took it and she won't give it back to me. Oh, you need to start. You know what? Mama Geek, let me tell you what you need to do to grandma. Hopefully grandma's close enough. Just bring your stuff to grandma's house and sew there, because I'm not going to lie, sewing can be messy. And what's better way than like leave the children to aggravate grandma and sew at grandma's house and let grandma clean it up. Just saying. And then if you're stuck, you make her help you. I hate it how I need to buy a pattern 5 sizes larger than your ready to wear store measurements. Measurements count. Oh, I know. And then like my chest, because I'm an apple. I mean, no matter how small I get, my waist is hardly ever smaller. There's like a magic number in there. It's like 150 that my waist is smaller than my chest and my hips. Otherwise, I'm a complete apple. I feel like I look like a dang hot air balloon. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, that's what I hate about sewing clothes. And here's my big one. I got to do a review on this one. I made a shirt. I made a box top because I'm really in the box tops right now. The ones where like there's no sleeves, but the sleeves go off the shoulder. And then by the way it hangs, it kind of naturally silhouettes, but it's almost one piece. And it's typically a chiffon. It's not a cotton or anything like that. And I'm really I like that because you can kind of get fat and small without having to buy new clothes. And you can wear it longer. I made this one size fits all out of Australia's pattern out of Australia. It looks like crud. So I spent the fabric. I sewed it. Now, did I sew it perfectly? Probably not. I mean, I kind of just threw it together to see how it fit. It fits horrible. And I told my mom, I go, should I even bother sewing clothes? Because when it comes down to it, I could at least gone and tried that on at the store and not bought it. You know what I mean? You're hot, so roll with it. Wait a minute. Wait, did I miss something? All right. So Bandana said patterns 5 times larger. I have such anxiety since Friday. I've barely eaten anything at all. That's what happened to me. My anxiety has been like roller coastering. Maybe call it the 728 square feet we live in. Maybe call it the fact that we're changing out of homeschool next year. I can't bring myself to make videos because of my anxiety. Yesterday, I was a screaming, raging lunatic. And I mean, I hit that moment of ice cream. Nice mommy ice cream moment. I didn't eat ice cream. I should have ate ice cream. What I did was pull out the pancake mix, put in, and now I buy like the Krusteaz pancake mix for my kids. And I haven't done this for a long time and in the last 6 months, but I just did it. I bought the pancake mix and I put a can of pumpkin in it. So, like the pancake mix is just add water and you're good. I don't add water. I get like 3 cups of pancake mix, 1 can of pumpkin, 3 eggs. I use milk instead of water, add a little vanilla in there, add some cinnamon. I make pancakes. I made these pancakes, these pumpkin pancakes. I could only eat 2 because like all the fiber and everything, you're done. Cover that in butter and syrup. I ate that. I mean, the moment I ate that, and it was so divine. I'm not going to lie. It was like carbolicious. It was sugar carbolicious. And bye, Jackie. And so
Trish said bye.
So I saw him, or I saw that he was leaving. That's why I said that, y'all. So I made it. I swear to you, I comatose out. I sat on the couch and I'm watching my Andrea Mills, because I like watching Andrea Mills. Her videos are about 30 minutes long sometimes on how she organizes or how she shops. I'm sitting there with my phone like this on the couch. And I'm just crashing. And as I'm falling asleep, I'm like, I am crashing in the middle of the day because of all that high fructose corn syrup. God is good. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, well, let me tell you, I'm actually in the middle of writing a blog post about it. For those that have known me for years, I am a minimalist. Always have been. I don't live with minimalist people though. But the last few weeks, I'm just like, okay, look, in order for me to be the mom and the homemaker and the wife that I need to be, I have got to get on top of all this. I cannot function in this anymore. I am so overwhelmed. I am stressed beyond the level that I can function in. And so I've just started purging. Like my room is probably the most decluttered of all the other rooms in the house. And it has helped me so much to not have all of the stuff in the way. And it just, I cannot even tell you. And what's funny, actually what my opening part of the blog post is that it seems like minimalism, it sounds like a trend, it sounds like a fad that people are going through, but this dates back all the way to biblical times. Scripture tells us not to lay our treasures on earth, but in heaven. Whenever Jesus called his disciples and was sending them out, he told them, don't take anything with you, just go. And because, he's going to meet our needs. And I'm not saying get rid of everything or be a nomad or anything like that. But for a lot of people, myself included, clutter is chaos. Well, why am I talking about this? We're talking about stress. I had a point.
Hey, let me just go ahead.
Just getting rid of everything has helped my stress level like you would not believe.
We were talking about anxiety causing us to eat garbage.
Yeah.
Hey, I do want to tell y'all, because they were like, you're killing us with pancakes. How did you feel afterwards? You know, it's not bad if you eat pancakes for dinner. Let me tell you this. I felt immediately horrible. Like upon the last bite that I took, my stomach hurt from just being completely expanded. I did eat them for dinner. I also ate them for lunch and I ate them for breakfast. So I think I had all the fields covered completely. But yeah, I felt horrible. And I did it just because I was stressed out. But it helped. It helped. Oh, going on that minimalist thing. Oh, we were talking about because I had a cluttered background too. Living in
seven started it.
That's probably that helped.
The anxiety.
And the anxiety, and then all the. I'm not a Maximist. I am. I will tell you though, I'm done living in 728 square feet. I'm between two options right now that we are actually debating. Going to buy a 2,000 square foot mobile home, or going to buy a old, literally an original schoolhouse in our community that's 8,000 square feet. I'm talking, it's a 2-story industrial looking building that I had a friend live in that I'm ready to move into. 8,000 square feet. My husband said, well, you can never complain about not having enough space ever again. I'm like, yeah, I know. Pepper and Pine is here. Good morning.
Good morning, Pepper and Pine.
I make French crepes made mostly of eggs. Maybe you can have those. They're very good. I grew up, so flapjacks, you know, that's kind of what I made yesterday, flapjacks. I did not grow up eating flapjacks. We called them Swedish pancakes, but essentially they're a French crepe. And like literally they're a cup of flour to like 10 to about a dozen eggs, just about. And listen, Pepper, I could Pepper's actually Hannah. I can eat me some crepes now, about 10 of them at a time.
Yeah, one of the best breakfasts I've ever had. We were staying up in the Smoky Mountains, and there's a pancake place. I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's in Gatlinburg. And so you can either get pancakes or crepes. And I got the fruit crepes. They had like the homemade whipped topping. Oh my gosh! And then it had bacon with it. Oh, forget about it. It was amazing. On Mama Gets Fit.
It's Wheat Belly morning. It's a Wheat Belly Wednesday.
Well, and I wanted to say this too. Ambi asked at the top of the show, what is Wheat Belly? And Wheat Belly is for people who cannot properly, let's be honest, I don't think anybody can truly properly digest wheat the way America produces it. Because the way, Ambi, you're supposed to eat wheat, if I may be so bold to say.
Say it, girl, say it.
Grains and soaking grains go back thousands of years. Grains should be soaked, sprouted, and or fermented before it's consumed. That way, the hard coating on the outside is properly broken down so your body can digest it. But because we are such a microwave society, our food has to be fast. Okay, let me say microwave and money-minded society. Companies want to produce it quickly so they can get it out and get the money. But the way that they are sending it out and we are consuming it is all wrong, and our bodies don't know how to break it down properly. And so our bellies will puff out, they will get inflamed.
Essentially, instead of like doing, like when we are fermenting it, we're doing a pre-digestion and we get all this gas that happens, this carbon, what is it? I don't know what it is. It's this gas that is created from the fermentation. So either you do it outside your body in a jar, and you burp it, you let the gas out, or it happens inside your stomach, and that gas is within your system, and you pray that you fart it out sooner than later.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well, it's the only way it comes out.
Well, yeah. Or it can come up too. But yeah, like Hannah said, jovial ancient wheat, einkorn wheat is an ancient grain. That's a wonderful suggestion. But yeah, but if you do get the American wheat, if you just buy the white flour at the store, if you ferment it by doing a sourdough, or if you sprout your flour, which really it's better to do it with whole
The
wheat.
grain versus, yeah.
But if you soak it before you make it into bread, and you can actually purchase already sprouted grain, then it's better for your body for it to break down that way. So that's what
I have to say, there's some folks that are like, I'm in 900 square feet with 7 kids. I actually went and we did go and look at a 900 square foot mobile home. And it had a whole different feel than the 728 because it had that extra bedroom to it. And it really, I was like, But one said, but she has a basement. So we don't have a basement or anything like that. We literally have 728 square feet and then like a front porch that gets rained in, hot, dirty, the whole 9 yards. But Deanna Grandma says there's such a thing as a 2,000 square foot mobile home. Is that like a modular? Modular mobile home, the only difference is that the modular, they pick up and they move on and off a chassis, whether it's the flatbed of a trailer of a semi. But a mobile home, they actually attach a chassis to it and they put wheels on it so they can roll it down the road. I mean, in all honesty, that's about the difference. But they do. Here you would get a double wide because in Florida, they legally can go down the road 16 feet wide. So you can get a 16 by 80, and they'll get 2 16 by 80s and put them together. You know, and I've been looking at that. That's about $80,000, which seems like whoa. But my husband and I have actually taken the same floor plans and looked at building it. And building it on site is like $200,000. Is that nuts? And I mean, maybe we're doing it wrong, but pricing it out down here, no, maybe not 200,000, but it's close to 200,000 to build it. But that was us putting a second floor like attic on it because we can't do a basement. It'll flood. People are 6 times less is purging. Lindsay says, I don't function with clutter. I'm a true minimalist, but I need completely cleared surfaces, tables to think clearly. Lindsay, that's one of my biggest problems being in a small space. Like, I just want my desk space that, like, I do my stuff with my kids on cleared. I'm like, see this mess in here? We don't live in here. Come just dump the stuff here. Every time I turn around, even though I have dedicated spots for my kids to put their stuff away, they put it on my desk and it makes me crazy. Simply 7 is she has no choice but to declutter every day. Yep. Bandana Grandma was talking about flannel cakes. You know, can I tell you, like, that might be like a Dutch baby. Pepper pine. What I have found, going back to the pancakes, and we're going to stop because I know we're really killing some of y'all, is I love my crepes, but I don't like the work to make the crepes. I like the easiness of a regular pancake, a flapjack. What I found were the Dutch babies that Esther Emery made, because I think I've Instagrammed it a few times. It's literally the way you make crepes, except you melt the butter in a cast iron pan, you pour it in, and you stick it in the oven for 20 minutes, and it rises up, and it has the texture of a cheese Danish. It is like phenomenal. It is velvety. I mean, almost you could describe it as flannel. All right, that's all we got to say about that. Down South home, she said it'd be cool if I got the 8,000 square foot home, but the thought of heating and cooling and lights. Yes, that has been one of the things because I know the person that's lived in there. I know what the cost would be. And one of the hard parts is keeping it cool and keeping it warm because it's 12-foot ceilings. Can you imagine 12-foot ceilings? I mean, we could have some serious fun with it. You know,
basketball.
You
play basketball in there.
Right? There's a flight of stairs in there. And it's really cool because it's actually warm because this school was in function for like 40 years. There's people who actually graduated that went to school there that are still around. And there's parts of the staircase that's worn from these little feet that were up and down as children, people there as children. And but you could do a flight of stairs And it's like a flight and a half. It's like a story and a half is the one flight of stairs. So I'm just kind of like, if we got it, I'd get my exercising in. Because one of the things I found is being in a small space, I'm not exercising. It's just too much work. I'm not walking like I used to. And I think that's some of my problems, because if I'm not exercising, it doesn't lead me into good food choices, if that makes sense. I mean, to be completely honest.
Yeah, well, here's what's funny is I'm actually reverse. For me, my food choices, it's not the other way around. If I'm not eating right, I don't care anything about exercising. But when I am eating right, especially when I was down to 177, oh my gosh. Yeah, that was my lowest weight that I've hit so far, was 177. I'm back up to 184, but I'm going to blame that, well, one, on getting too complacent, but also stress. When I was at 177, I was working out. I was doing Pilates, and I was doing, what do you call it? Yoga. I can't think. And my dog is in the living room tearing something up. But yeah, so when I'm eating right, I want to exercise. When I'm not eating right, I don't care.
Mustard seed's heading off to work. Goodbye, mustard seed.
Bye, mustard seed.
And Ambi, everything you're describing, that's called anxiety. That's an anxiety attack. Why you have them, you got to take that to the Lord. Because I mean, yes. I've been fighting them for a long time. They've gotten better. I'm having a hard time. I think a lot of my stress I'm running into is the balance between, one is I can't handle stimulation. Does that make sense? I get overstimulated from noise. I actually get overstimulated from noise and light. So if my lighting isn't balanced, if it's too dark, I get really ticked. I get really irritable when it's too dark because I can't see.
Oh, that makes sense. Well, I live in a caver, so.
Well, and then down here. Well, then down here, if it's too bright, I can't see either. It overstimulates me. And if it's flashy, I don't like concerts that have a lot of lights that are flashing. I'm just like, I cannot see this. This is going to make me crazy. But then I get overstimulated in sounds. And now I have and that's been the hard part, is like my 4-year-old, since being in our tiny little box of a home, he is bouncing off the walls all the time.
Yeah.
And then yesterday, if you saw, I posted a picture. I was outside kind of just getting some air, walking. I come inside and I find all the clothes I'd set on my bed to put away was thrown on the floor. My bed was completely unmade by my 4-year-old. And then I walk in the bathroom, the toilet lid's shut. I open the toilet lid, and there is my $20 book of the month Lighthouse Lamplighter Publishing book. And I'm just like, I was flipping ready to lose it. At that point, I put it in the oven and started making pancakes. It was the point that I pulled the book out of the toilet that I began making pancakes. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah. And I think all of us as moms, we can envision that moment. Be like, forget about this. Put the book in the oven. I'm making pancakes. I mean,
I'm making pancakes. I made the pancakes. I sat down on the couch, started watching me some Andrea Mills. Why do I watch Andrea Mills? Because she lives in she lives in a ridiculously small space, like 900 square feet, I think it is, with 8 kids and a home business. And I said, let's just watch how Andrea gets it done, and I'm gonna sit here and relax and watch her, and all that sugar kicked in, my stomach hurt, and I just went to sleep. I was like, done. And I'd wake up just enough. Oh my goodness. And you want to talk about, I say this carefully, I woke up and I just seen in the crack of my eye, like my son doing something, and here's my foot. I'm like trying to catch him in the arm, to kick him in the arm, because he's like this far from me, to hit him and I was just like, stop. I was like this. Stop! And then here I go.
Yeah.
I wake up again. Stop! Go back to bed. I say that carefully, not to get into a whole other that YouTube channel that just got their kids taken away because he'd essentially been emotionally abusive and physically abusive for views.
What?
You hadn't heard about that?
No.
Amy was talking about that too on Facebook. There is a YouTube channel that he was always pranking. Bro, I'm just pranking you. Essentially, and I don't know if it was a dad or stepdad. I think it's a dad. He had custody of his kids, him and his new wife. And I'm just hypothetically, I don't know all the story. I'm not going to even lie, but I'm just going to say so what he would do is he'd sit there and start berating his children over this, that, or the other, pushing them. I mean, they talked about in one instance, he slammed them into a bookshelf and he's bleeding. And the son's like, I didn't do it, Dad. I didn't do it. And he's crying. He's like, bro, I'm just pranking. Here's my thing about it. What y'all don't know, and it's not my channel, but there's other channels. I've known of other channels that the Department of Children and Family of whatever that state is has been called, and the Sheriff's Department has been called because they don't like the way you dress your kid. They don't like the groceries you buy and what kind of food you buy. They don't like the fact your kid's in bunk beds. They don't like the fact you got that many kids in a bedroom. And they will call the Sheriff's Department and find you on YouTube because they don't like the way you parent. Mm-hmm. But yet this guy was doing this on YouTube for 3 years. Where were those people? Right. I mean, they don't mind chasing after, because I don't agree with the fact that you wear nothing but long skirts. I mean, there's people who've had DCF call, in Florida we call it DCF, have been called because they didn't like the fact that they bought cereal with sugar in it and they wanted a well child check. But where were these people for this channel? I mean, granted, I never saw this channel. I never watched this channel. I never heard of this channel. And they were doing this just for views. And then what kind of sick, nasty people sat and watched that stuff out of humor? Anyways. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put that soapbox away now.
Yeah, I'd not heard that. That's crazy. Okay.
I'm sure you're going to be hearing about it soon.
Is it binge? The binge is homeschooling, homestead, or binges? You'll have to excuse my inability to read this morning. She asked how tall I am. I am not at 177 now. I'm at 184 now, but I am 5'8". That's how tall I am. Are you making soup at 8:25 a.m.?
Whatever. I eat pancakes at 9 o'clock at night. No judgment here. Eat all the soup you want. Farmer Mimo says, kids bouncing off the wall and tearing stuff up makes my anxiety go up. Just listening to you talk about it makes my anxiety go. Trish, I'd be 400 pounds with 6 kids in a small space. Right? And that's kind of what I've run into. It's just like, ugh. I don't. You know, so I've just been that, you know, so part of that, good morning, Sodbuster. So part of that is kind of why I've just been like, you know, oh, let's just get into this aspect. Guess what my husband's been telling me lately?
I'm afraid to know.
Oh, honey, you're so soft and cuddly.
What's that
This morning. Okay, because since moving into the house, I'm not gonna lie, I sleep on the couch now. I'm not a couch sleeper. I sleep on the couch almost every night. I try to sleep in bed with my husband and I can't. Because I swear that room is not even 8 foot by 8 foot. So it's small. And then to make it work out, we sleep on a double bed.
Oh my goodness. We slept on a double bed for years. Like, we didn't get a queen size bed until Parker was a few years old.
I I do not handle claustrophobia. Listen, I've been caving, Tangi. And I've been caving, and like there's this passage that it was like just big enough for your body, and like I was down to like my lowest weight, so I could do it. So I was really proud I could do it. But then I got stuck hanging upside down because I got so claustrophobic. I started laughing and tensing up, and it expanded my body cavity because I'm like holding in all this air, having like an anxiety attack, stuck hanging upside down. And I was just like, oh, and the problem was it's the only passageway in, and I was the last one to go through, so they'd be stuck down there if I didn't relax. And so every night, the tiny bed in the tiny room, all shut up, I sleep on the couch. My husband comes in the morning and he's like, oh, honey, this is what he says today. You're so cuddly. I just want to squeeze you. You're like my little dough girl. Tell me that man hasn't noticed I put on 10 pounds. And it ain't from looking. It's not from looking at me. He's like squeezing me and hugging me. And he's like, you're so soft and pudgy again. I love this. And I'm like,
no. We're gonna be hearing about baby number 7 coming up real soon.
Oh, no. He is already on it. The guy has baby fever like nobody's business. There's like 2 people that just had a baby at work, and he's all like, they had babies. I want another baby. And I'm like, the only thing you absolutely love is my swollen belly and those brand new babies. And, you know, the girls that go with it.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh yeah, and so like there's this gal at church, she's had a baby. She's got this, it's not her baby, she's taking care of another baby. I'm like, I'm like, just saying, but I have not held that baby yet. But don't let my husband hold that baby. He's already got baby fever. I think we just probably need to borrow a baby. Because even like the last time, so I was 37. I was 37 when I had Leona.
Mm-hmm.
And that first week of those up all night things, I looked at him. I said, we are too old. Compass, I just want you to know, he's the Sunday school nursery worker. He is the official nursery teacher at church. He holds everybody's babies.
He loves it.
He loves babies. I didn't know this marrying him, how much he loves babies.
But
I had to ask for number 3.
You figured it out.
6, yeah, you know, because it was funny because it was like no big deal having the first baby because it was like, yeah, okay, let's start having babies. He's like, oh, let's be all logical about it. Yeah, let's have a baby. Second one, he's like, okay. Well, kind of okay. I didn't realize I was pregnant. I didn't realize we had made baby number 2, but we had made baby number 2. I was like, hey, I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant. And he's like, yeah, I kind of knew that when it happened. I was like,
what?
Was I not there for that? I'm like,
oh, I see.
Just saying. I know I'm gonna start laughing too hard. I'll be crying. And then baby number 3, I was like, I think we need to have baby number 3. He's like, no. I was like, no, I'm serious. We need to have baby number 3. He's like, no. And I was like, but we're going to have baby number 3. Let's have baby number 3. He's like, okay, let's have baby number 3. We'll do it. So he finally succumbed. Baby 4, he's like, let's get that done. I was like, are you sure? He's like, oh, yeah, let's do that. Hey, it's time for baby number 5. Hey, it's time for baby number 6. He's like, no, actually, baby number 6 was my idea. I won't lie. I'd gone to a Chandra Pierce. Have I told you all this? I'd gone to a Chandra Pierce concert. This was before her husband had passed away. It's about 2 or 3 months before he passed away. And she was talking about how just an amazing dad he was. And he was never a drinker. He was never this or that. But he was a stay-at-home dad. And he lost his identity when his children left. Lost his identity. And he started drinking and became an alcoholic. And literally in the course of just a few years was to the point of being, he had lost his identity. And it was alcoholism that killed him. It killed his system. And I mean, he was in and out of rehab. She's like, all the retirement we worked towards and everything was gone. And he was, you know, it was spent in rehab, and then he finally passed. And so what really hit home as she was giving her testimony of that is how naive I am. My husband is a recovered alcoholic. Well, let me just say he has not drank in 11 years. And what hit home with me was we will literally, well, we would have, I don't think we will anymore. We would have had like an open 2 years in there that he would not be actively daddying, and he wouldn't be a grandfather yet, more than likely. And all of a sudden I realized his sobriety was not as strong, you know, like that realization of like, as much as I think you're going to be sober the rest of your life because you're done drinking, does not mean that that's going to happen. And God just laid it on my heart that my inconvenience of being pregnant is so short-lived as me trying to spend the rest of my life bringing him back to sober. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I went home that night, right out of the Chandra Pierce, and I said, you know, God hit me hard today. God hit me with a brick today, because I'm like, I am done having babies. And I said, this is what happened to Chandra Pierce's husband. And I said, it made me realize your sobriety isn't invincible. And I feel like it would be important to have another baby just to ensure your identity as dad, because his identity as dad is stronger than his desire to drink, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Being dad makes him sober. And I think being grandpa will totally keep him sober too. And I said, I feel like we really have to have an overlap of you being grandpa, you being dad, to keep you strengthened in your sobriety. I think we need to have another kid. He was like, all right, let's do it now. That was all I was doing. I was like, okay. Sure enough, pregnant 3 weeks. I'm testing positive 3 weeks later.
Well, hey, I do want to say, I feel like I need to say this because I saw that same Chandra Pierce concert. They came through our town.
Uh-huh.
And I went and saw her.
Did you get dressed up? That was a jammy night one.
No.
PJ party.
Jammy night. It wasn't PJ party. But she said something that really bothered me. And
yeah.
If I could have, I would have stood up and said, that's not true. I don't know if she said it at your thing, but she made the comment during the stand-up that I saw. She was talking about all the different religions and how she grew up Pentecostal, and then talked about Baptist and how there was different. And she went on to say, it doesn't matter because we all came from the Catholic Church. That is not true.
That is not true.
Do your studying. We did not come out of the Catholic Church. So
the Catholic Church came from us.
Well, they came. I don't know where it came from, but Baptists did not come from the Catholic Church.
Listen, Jesus was a Jew, not a Catholic. Just saying.
Right.
That's what I would have stood up and said. Jesus was a Jew, not a Catholic. Anyways. Listen, ours was a PJ party. I was dressed to the nines. I should pull up a picture. If I can pull up a picture, I would. She pulled me on stage. I looked so good.
I remember you telling me that. That's funny.
It's not having babies that's hard for us. For us, it's the babies and teenagers, adults at the same time. That has been my biggest issue, because when I look back, when I had 3 babies, I had this. They were all little. They weren't even in preschool yet. I mean, I had a routine. People were impressed. They were all like, you got this mama thing down. I mean, I put them to bed at noon to 4 o'clock every day. Mm-hmm. Really parenting was hard, because it was like breakfast to lunch was when I parented, or, I entertained them. Hardly any TV. They didn't want TV. They weren't into it. Now I can't detach their face from it. Mm-hmm. And then they knew that. Then they'd eat lunch, wash their hands, and go lay down. And then I was pregnant with number 4, and I ended up with a bad tooth that then inflamed. It was a big mess. My whole face felt like it was going to fall off. And I decided it'd be so much easier if I just took the oldest one who's in K4 and take her to K4 preschool, put her in preschool. My whole life was ruined at that point. And I say that, and I'm going to tell you why it was. Because now all of a sudden I had to leave the house at like 8 in the morning and I had to leave the house at noon. And this once ability of what I would do, we were no longer in that mode. And I never got it back. Even to this day, I'm not nearly as organized, but I had less I had to do because I didn't have these different age groups. And now I feel like I can't, like my little people want to do what my big people do. So my little people don't take naps like they should. So my last 3 kids have been crazy holy rollers. They don't nap. They don't, like yesterday I made the one nap because I was falling asleep. I drugged the 2-year-old. I said, "You're getting in bed with me." And she screamed at me for half an hour and then she crashed, and it's like having that routine. I lost the ability to do that routine. Anyways, whatever.
Well, I think one of the things that's difficult, I was going to say for moms of many children, but it's moms with any children. We have so much more distractions. So it's hard to get focused. I mean, 50 years ago, a lot of people, if you had 10 or 11 kids, that was like the norm. And especially
some parts of our country, you can go there and still have that.
Well, parts, especially farm families. But it was easier for the mom to say, "This is our routine," because not every household had a television. There certainly wasn't computers or devices. Yeah, there wasn't any of that. And
this is what I'm pointing to, folks.
Well, and not only are children distracted, but the moms are too. So it's just, let's just all throw it all out the window.
Well, and it's hard, and I think that goes back to like what Esther Emery was saying with the addiction, like reading her book. And I finally found my book in a box because stuff is still in a box. If I didn't have that, and then I run into, I feel like there's never a stopping point. When you homeschool, whether you mean to or not, unless you're highly scheduled. I mean, Tangi, how's it going? Are you homeschooling through the summer to get it finished?
Yes, we homeschool year round.
And so I'm homeschooling year round. And Toddbuster said, "I'm not distracted. Kids, get off the stove." Well, and and my kids and the worst is my kids are with my husband when it comes to having more children. I'm trying to fix my hair. Having more children. They're like, "Let's do it." What?
I can't see you on my phone. I can see you on the computer, but I can't see you on my phone. You're gone.
Oh,
that's cool.
Mommy Geek says, so she's going after to be an education specialist, a special education specialist, and she's noticed that electronics are affecting the attention span of children. Teachers are noticing the effects in the classroom. Yes. Oh, bye, ladies. You don't seem to listen to anyone. Huh? What do y'all think May is talking about? I haven't seen a comment that she's put up yet. Ladies, you don't seem to listen to anyone.
That's funny. Oh,
that's strange.
We're interacting with everybody. Let's see.
I don't know what that means. Sawbuster, yes, it's exactly. Toad off the table.
She commented. Wait a minute, where'd it go? Have you been to Alcoholics Anonymous? I have, because it taught me so much.
No, I haven't. I would love if I had the time to go. I mean, I'll tell you what, it would have helped me about 10, 11 years ago when he started sobering up. It was really hard when he got sober. Him and I have talked about it many times. Because the man I'm now married to is not the man I married. And although the blessing that was there about him not drinking was huge, but there was some big things that happened too that have been really hard. Many of the ways is the alcoholic that left was also my best friend. If that makes sense, he was my best friend. And when the alcoholic left and the sober man came, I have learned to like him. But as a sober man, he is not the easiest to like all the time. And I could cry because I've spent a lot of time with this. Nobody talks about that because my husband wasn't abusive. He wasn't an abusive alcoholic. But I lost my best friend and he's never been back. That's been hard. And I have a girlfriend that sits on the battlegrounds of dealing with her alcoholic husband. And she sits in turmoil of it. And I'm just, and I was the one who prayed for him to quit drinking. And her and I've had a lot of talks because she's still dealing with her husband being an alcoholic. And I said, just be careful and be prepared for what that brings. Because as much as you're tired that he misses these big events, that quality time you get sitting around the fire because that's when he's drinking, you won't ever have that again. And he still might not go to the events even when he's sober because he never wanted to go in the first place. So now you've got the man who soberly will not go. And you no longer have the man that would be your best friend sitting by the fire or sitting outside talking. Because that's what I lost. I love my husband to pieces. I will go to the end of the world with him. And I will be there till the end of the world. But the man that used to sit and talk to me is no longer there, and I don't think he's coming back. Not to be completely horrible about it, but that's what I got. Mm-hmm. And I love, and I agreed to the end of my life, to the end of his. Well, to the end of his. There's days it's going to come sooner than later.
Right.
And he knows this, and we've talked about it. And the reality is he doesn't know how to be that person without drinking. Mm-hmm. And his alcoholism is workaholic. He works 80 hours a week, which is probably good that he has a job that lets him work 80 hours a week, because otherwise he'd find something else to do. So he works 80 hours a week in 5 days. Saturday morning comes out. Even just this last weekend, because I was a little bit ticked off at him. He got up at 6 in the morning. And granted, there's men who do not work, and I cannot handle men who will not pull their weight. But he got up at 6 in the morning. I didn't see him. I saw him to make him breakfast. I saw him to make him lunch, and I heard all about it when I didn't have dinner ready. He wasn't gone. He was planting fence posts. He will find something to do. He got up in the morning and he went to church. He came home and he changed the tires and he changed the oil. He rotated tires, changed the oils. Did not see him till 6 at night. So in 7 days, and when he finally gets home, he's got 14 things still on his brain. He's not a communicator anymore. And
well, do you think that part of him staying busy is because he doesn't drink? Like he's got to do something else to not think about it, or to?
He's one of those that one is he's wired. I think what it really came down to it was he's a workaholic. He was a workaholic in college. Whatever he does at 120%. He's wired that way. And I don't think he naturally knows how to not do that or slow his brain down. It's a brain thing. And that's where I'm not angry at him. I hurt because I don't have him in the capacity that I really, really want him. He doesn't know how to slow his brain down. And so for him, alcohol, alcohol's a drug. He drug induced his brain to slow down. Mm-hmm. And when his brain slows down, he can, he can sit with me, but he can't otherwise. He doesn't, right. It's not in his capacity. And 11, 12, and you would think, well, after a year, you'll learn this. After 2 years, you'll learn this. Mm-hmm. It's been over a decade. He's yet to learn it. I don't think he is. And I don't think he's wired that way. And, so it is hard. It's, it's really hard on that aspect, but I understand that's who he is. And you know what? I live well. I I live well. He works so hard that I have all this amenities. You know, I'm house poor with 3 homes, and I know if something needs to get done, it will get done. Now, will he prioritize my things? Only if I nag him, and I'm not a nagger. I'm not a big nagger. So my stuff isn't a priority. He's not materialistic, and neither am I. You know, so I have a Jenga play set that's the stairs getting into my place here, because that's not a priority. You know, but we got fence posts put in. We don't have fencing put in.
Right.
There's no fence up, but there's fence posts, you know, because he has to go do something.
Right.
So, anyway.
Well, I like how the Benjes said, my husband worked all the time after he quit drinking as well. The Lord changed his heart. Something I had to learn was to change my heart toward him, which was difficult too. And let me tell you, that was that has been one thing in marriage. I've always said, if you think you're a good person, get married. And all of your flaws seem to come forward in your brain. But that is one thing that the Lord has shown me multiple times in marriage. There when I'm praying that the Lord will change my husband, then the Lord shows me, look, you ain't all that either. And then I get an attitude adjustment really quick. And I have to change too. And that's one thing I'm really thankful. My husband and I, we had a small little church wedding, and the preacher that married us, that was one of the things that he said. He said, you both have to change. And you don't change the one time. When you have to continually evolve together. And I think that's the process of becoming one. So, you know, whatever you're facing, or whatever your spouse is facing, whether it's an addiction or a sickness or anything like that, we have to learn to evolve together. And you know, and we need the Lord's help to do that, because you know, there's this whole well, he's not the man I married, or I just don't love him anymore. You need the Lord.
Love is a choice. You might not like him.
Absolutely.
But it's a choice. And I am not going to lie. Me and my husband had a talk the other day. I have a really mean streak. I'm not going to lie. I can come up with some dirty things to do to people, especially him. And I told him, you know, and he's like, you are just mean. I said, but aren't you thankful I got the love of Jesus that I don't act out on all of them?
So true. So true. Well, I like how Mommy Geek is saying that he has video games. Now, my husband is not a gamer, but I think most men, okay, here's the thing. Men are not wired the way women are wired. When I was working out of the house, I would come home from work, I would drop my purse, and I would go straight into fixing dinner, unloading the dishwasher. There was never a downtime for me. Downtime for me was after the kids went to bed. But my husband is the exact opposite. He has to switch gears. When he comes home, he'll kiss me, but I won't talk to him. I don't ask him, you know, how was your day? Hey, can you take out the trash? We don't get into that until he has decompressed. He has to go to the back of the house. He has to take his boots off. He has to change out of his uniform, put on his fresh clothes. He takes a few minutes to check messages or whatever. When he comes out of the bedroom, that's when I'm like, okay, kids, now you can attack him with, hey, this is what we did today or whatever. Some men need video games to decompress. My brother is one of those, and his first wife, she didn't get that. You know, I'm glad that she said that, because it's true. She said that she's letting her husband have that time. Now, there is a difference between having a vice to decompress and addiction. There's a line there, but it is good to recognize, hey, you know, my husband's not like me. He can just come straight in from the door and then bam, let's do this family thing. They got to have that time.
Well, mine likes to come home and then he's like, I don't see any of you doing anything, so you must have done nothing today. And I expect you all to be like, do all the stuff I do, you do it too at that speed. And I'm like, ugh. And then I'm not gonna lie, I would be the video gamer So, but he's like anti-video games. So we have a Wii that's hardly ever plugged in. The kids have Nintendo DSs, but I don't even think they know where they're at. We're not, he's just like, to him, that is like the most useless amount of thing to do with your time and energy ever, because, everything has to be done for purpose. And here I am, I'm like, just Facebook. And he's like, what? Get off the phone. He cannot stand me because he expects me to be as productive as him. And I try to explain, I said, although the dishes didn't get done, it doesn't mean I didn't do anything today. I'm just like, being here with them is doing something, And so we'll get into different things. But at the same time, I will tell you what I've got in return. I have a man who prays for me every morning, who will not leave me, whether I'm awake or not, will lay hands on me and pray for me.
That's awesome.
Never in my life did I think that was an awesome, that I would have that blessing. Another thing he does is, I know this will be hard to imagine, but I'm a yes person, and I get myself into some sticky situations. He will gladly be my scapegoat, and he will go take care of it if I need it done. And he will take full responsibility that he is calling the shots and that I don't get to do it. And that it's by his choice. Although I said I'm going to do this, and if he realizes that I've got myself in hot water, or if I got myself in over my head, and I say, I got myself in over my head, go save me, he will show him. He'll be like, I know Trish said that she could do this, and I'm going to tell you I cannot let her do this. I mean, I'm sorry if you're going to be mad at me, but just understand that I can't have her do this today for you. And I was like, love you.
You just gave your secret away. You just gave your secret away.
I don't care. I don't care because they don't watch this. But I mean, or I can be like, no, Eric said no.
Yeah.
No. And it's just like, I was like, no. Yeah, and it don't matter, because if anybody goes to him and be like, and my husband's no. Like, here I am. I'm like, you haven't even finished asking me what you want from me. I'm like, sure, of course. I'd love to do that for you. You ask my husband anything, he's like, no. It doesn't matter if he will say no. He might come back to you 2 days later and be like, yeah, we can do that. He goes, it's easier to say no and come back and say yes than it is to say yes and say no.
That is so, I am so going to write that down. See, you guys, that's one of the things about my stress is I say yes too much. And I actually wrote a blog post on it. And I know some of you have read it, but yeah. And it's funny because I told my husband, I'm like, okay, when you see me getting overwhelmed, remind me to think like a man, please.
Yeah, that's he ticks people off. And then his other one is, he's like, don't ask my wife for something you want from me. If you want it from me, you'll ask me. So I had a neighbor mad at another neighbor because neighbor A wanted something neighbor B had that he just bought this house. So he wanted to go buy like the concrete stepping stones. Neighbor A goes and asks neighbor B's wife. Neighbor A goes and asks neighbor B's worker that's working around the property for him. Neighbor A goes and asks neighbor B's somebody else. Neighbor A finally sees neighbor B and says, I'm not going to say anything about those stepstones because I've asked 3 times about them. Neighbor B says nothing about the stepstones. Neighbor A walks away and he's ticked off because he knows he's asked 3 times. And I'm like, why are you mad at him? You never once personally asked him. So if it's important to you, it's your job to ask neighbor B. It's not neighbor B's job to say, hey, did you want these? I'm just like, y'all are crazy. But to be honest with you, that logic didn't come until I met my husband. Because my husband said, if they really want something from me, they don't ask you, they ask me. And it took, like, my mom had a hard time with that because my mom's like, I'll ask you, but not your husband. And now she just knows I got to ask your husband. It's nothing personal.
Like what Mama Keith just said.
Let me do the Southern Baptist thing. Let me go home and pray about it. I need to say those words. I need to put that on a plaque. Let me go home and pray about that.
She says, if you hear that said in my church, that is basically a no.
I like how Compass says my husband says it's okay to throw him under the bus so I can take it. That's what I love about my husband. And I've lost my best friend. But I will say I didn't lose my protector. I didn't lose my provider. I didn't lose my love muffin, if you know what I mean.
Like stud muffin.
I lost my companion. When it comes down to it, I lost my daily companion. But in the end of it, and before him, I didn't really make the time to embed myself with like other females. I kind of had a tendency to kind of like come around, but I never like really bestied up with another female before. I didn't go through school with a lot of girlfriends and a lot of best friends, and I was never one of those. But now I tend to be more about it, and I tend to be more direct about making friends than I ever did before. So, you know, so I mean, it's had its different things. I have a feeling once the children are gone, he won't take on, because he takes on a lot of he assumes a lot of personal responsibility, and I think that's some of his motivation that keeps him going. Well, and his brain's busy, kind of deal.
Right.
Maybe I could use some drugs, but I'm scared he's going to have a heart attack. You know, pharmaceuticals prescribed, of course.
Yeah, I know what you meant. Of course. Yeah.
But, you know, I'm terrified he's going to have a heart attack. I feel like I'm going to outlive him. And I'm sad about this idea, is like, since he's sobered up, is I'm going to outlive him, because he's going to have a heart attack, stress, and die. He doesn't look healthy. He looks inflamed. I mean, I post a picture. I look younger than he is, and he's younger than me. And then I'm going to be aggravated because he went off and died before the golden years where we were going to finally have time to be with each other, and he's dead. And I'm just, I love him enough. I tell him that. I'm like, this sucks. You're going to work yourself to death, and then I'm never going to have fun with you. And you know my love language is quality time.
Right. Well, you know what? This is actually something, though. And by the way, it's 9 o'clock.
It's 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
But
yes, give me prayer requests as we go.
Okay, yeah, but what I was going to say was that I was actually talking to somebody, and we were talking about how our husbands are stressed out and they will unload on us. And she said sometimes when he's unloading on me, and it, you know, even though it's not really directed towards her, and I can say me too, because it's the same way here, and we take it personally and it wears us down. She said sometimes I think instead of telling me these things, he needs to be telling the Lord. And I'm like, yes, because I'm going to say something that's unpopular, but I think most of us ladies are Bible believing ladies, so we know that when God created the family, he put the husband over the family. So you got the husband, you got the wife, you got the kids, and you know, yes, we are our husband's companion and their helpmeet, but when it comes to the burdens of a husband, they really need to take that to God. And and not just a morning prayer. Right. I mean, but like to lay their burdens at the feet of Jesus. And you know,
I'm gonna start telling my husband that when he's like griping about everything, I'm like, don't lay it at my feet, go put it to God's. Go put that to Jesus.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I was just like, that is an excellent point. I think the next time because sometimes they unload it to a point where it feels personal, and it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that you married me. And
I'm not gonna lie. Now I'm gonna tell y'all my secret. When he starts griping at me, there is another reason why we got 6 kids. When he starts griping at me, I just start flirting with him and making gestures. You know why? Because he can't think anymore and he shuts up. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that. But usually in the throes of that, I am not. That's the last thing I'm thinking.
It's not what I'm thinking. I just know it shuts his mouth up. You know, and I'm more productive. I'm more productive to start. What was that, Legally Blonde, when they were training that girl how to like be like, you know, whatever. I start pulling some Legally Blonde moves. You know, like the snapback. Wasn't it that?
The snapback, yeah.
The snapback.
I think so. Something like that.
I'll do the snapback on him and stuff like that, and he forgets, because what I've learned is it's less energy and more productive to do the snapback than it is to argue with him.
Yeah.
I have to admit that I have to do that as well. Oh, putting it at the feet of Jesus. Absolutely right. If you do that, he's going to pick fights the whole lot more. No, he doesn't. He's just, then he thinks he's like, he can get it anytime he wants, and I'm just like, no way.
Mama Butterfly has a very sobering thought. So, and I would say that's also rolled up into a prayer request. Her husband is 40 and is in the middle of chemo.
Yep.
So let's definitely remember them. Let's see.
I think that's where I kind of keep my mind at. So my dad was diagnosed with cancer at 34. 34 years old. He died at 49. And he
Oh
was
my
on
goodness.
what?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, anyway,
Raspberry's praise report.
so we'll get there. So I do keep that. And me and my girlfriend, and he died by 49. And you're not promised tomorrow. And sometimes that makes me even angrier at times with my husband, because I'm just like, you're not promised tomorrow. It could be your way to work today. And a girlfriend of mine actually sat there and had this. I'm like, my biggest fear is losing my husband. And she's like, oh my goodness, mine too. Well, 3 years ago, her husband had a massive heart attack in the couch, and he was 43 years old, and died with a 6-year-old. He was sitting there playing with his 6-year-old daughter, and it happened. And she's like, we talked about this. And it's like, yeah. And just walking along that struggle with her, I'm kind of like, you aggravate the tar on me, but I'm going to go to bed happy with you, because I don't know what tomorrow brings.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Asbury has a praise report. We have been praying too.
That's right.
Read it.
Okay, so you guys know for the last few months, she has been asking prayer that we would pray over this adoption process, and they were awarded the adoption. I'm so excited for you guys. That is wonderful. That is so wonderful. Yes, pray for the easy transition. My family, we've, not my husband and I, but I have siblings that are adopted, and there is a difficult transition. But it really, really shows you the love of Christ whenever you, just how we are adopted into God's family. It's such a beautiful picture. And then, when you're going through the difficult times, you're thinking, this is how God probably feels about me. He loves me, but boy, he puts up with a lot. Let's see. And then Peace and Pantry also has a wonderful praise report. Her son got the job that she had been requesting prayer for. So that's awesome.
Wait, who was that?
Peace and Pantry.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he did get the job.
Let's see. Mayhay said that her husband is 70 and can't do anything now. Sodbuster said to pray for her husband. She also has a few other ladies in her community that have come to see me the past week because they are struggling with their depression as well. It's going around here like a virus. Let's see. Bandana Grandma says prayers for our missionary.
Yeah, Paul H. who's going through chemo with the 10 kids.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been praying for him. We're going to continue praying for him. We got our deployed children.
Yes.
One daughter about to have risky back surgery. Another daughter treating for infertility. I so want to bring back. That's Bandana Grandma's. Bandana. For her daughters. Yes, Ambi, we're going to get us all under our anxiety and taking it to the Lord when we vent. Venting to the Lord. I'm sorry, we went longer than we went. I don't know how it went so quickly.
Well, that's what
I almost cried a couple times. My gosh, premenopausal baby. Oh, you know how bad premenopausal is? So I did children's church this last Sunday. I haven't been doing it a lot lately. Pray for our neighbor, Chelsea. She's 16. She lost her mother 3 years ago to cancer. Not a good relationship with her father. She's living with her grandparents. Chelsea. I will say there's also one, I don't know her, is a homeschool mom. Lost her 17-year-old daughter in a car accident this week.
My goodness.
Peace Pantry's husband. Anyway, so I was teaching children's church, and we were talking about I was talking about Hannah, because we're like prepping, we're doing a Mother's Day project for Mother's Day. And so I was talking about Hannah and how, was it Hannah? Hannah wanted the baby, and she was praying at the temple, and she was being made fun of because she never had children, and God graced her with a child because she had promised that she would give this child back to God. Mm-hmm. And so I like to use the children in there to kind of get a grasp of this. So we're talking about like what mamas would do. Would your mama just, how would your mama feel if you were lost, and how would your mama, so forth. And I pointed out about a 7-year-old child, because I think when Hannah brought Samuel to Eli, he was about 6 or 7. It wasn't like he was 13. He was like, I don't know, he might not have even been 6 or 7. He might have been 4.
He was a baby.
He was a baby in every bit of the book that we've got. So I was talking about the fact that, like, could you imagine that long walk? That was a day's walk. And I took a 6-year-old that was in the room, and I said, come here and hold my hand, because this is what Hannah would have looked like walking her baby. Mm-hmm. Girl, I'm there with nothing but 4 to 14-year-olds. Look, I'm fixing to cry now. I start crying at the aspect of, like, this is what this mama did. Mm-hmm. I look probably like a crazy woman in there, sitting there teaching these children as I'm bawling at the aspect that this poor mom who had made this promise was willing to take this child before the Lord. Tell me that's not trust. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I'm going to get all emotional again because it's premenopause. The mama's heart. Benji said, home said she lost her grandma last fall to cancer. Now her grandfather that is raising her has cancer as well. Oh, that's with Chelsea. Oh my goodness. I've been able to watch since last week or week before. My Grace says, hello ladies, pray for my sister who's 31 weeks pregnant, diagnosed with placenta previa, just got admitted to the hospital. Oh, me. So my Grace, sister, 31 weeks. All right. Amanda says, y'all pray that the Lord would send me a new income opportunity. Our job is downsizing. The other, I am going to need to leave before the new baby comes this summer. It's going to be a real struggle. How are you feeling, Amanda? Or pray go, Mama. Amanda. Job. All right. Asbury says, Mayhay, I have a broken tailbone and it's so painful. Can't even imagine surgery. Praying for you. Is Mayhay getting surgery? Did I miss that? So we need to pray for Asbury's butt. Sorry, I just thought that was cute. I couldn't help it. I'm going to pray for your butt, baby. And as Mayhay came and prayed for me, which is awesome. And we're going to pray for Mayhay. Praying for y'all. The Lord is our comforter and our protector. Thank you. Farmer Meemaw says I'm making her cry. Who else am I making cry today? I'm so menopausal. It ain't funny. I'm feeling a lot better, Trish. Good food and supplements. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pray. We got a long list. My house didn't sell. I still own too many houses. Y'all keep praying that we'll get, that's our big part. And I know that there's some of y'all that are living in a small space, and that is like where it's at and where it's going to be forever. And here I get up here and I cry and whine about living in a small space. Don't judge me. I'm flesh. I ain't gonna lie. I'm flesh. And I'm just flesh, and I'm a maxima, not a minimalist. It doesn't work well. And I'm I don't handle small space, claustrophobic. Mm-hmm. So that's my weakness. But in all honesty, we pray, me and my husband pray all the time, just taking us out of the burden of the houses we have and just bringing us to where we're meant to be. And as each day turns to month, turns to years, I'm just realizing like God has a bigger purpose. I'm going to tell you, we're sitting right now and I'm having, not to make y'all cry again, but we had a family member that I had to put a distance between because that family member had chosen, he was not being aware of the boundaries. He kept crossing on us with some of our children, and he wasn't doing anything bad to our children, but he made our children uncomfortable, if that makes sense. So like there's no abuse going on, but sometimes there's those people that just don't get, like, they're just too much. And sometimes there's an attitude with children like, oh, you don't like this, and I'm gonna, like some children don't like to be tickled, and then it's almost like, you don't like to be tickled, then I'm gonna tickle you anyways. And I mean, mm-hmm. Sometimes being tickled is painful, is a physically painful situation. So it's kind of like stuff like that, but it wasn't, it wasn't borderline abuse. It wasn't anything like that, but just never being mindful that they're humans, just like you. And so we had a family member that we ran into that problem. And I pretty much said, you cannot come around. If you cannot respect my children as people, as humans like you, then you can't come around and you will not be around. And we were skipping events because I would not be there with him there. Mm-hmm. Because he just didn't understand no. Mm-hmm. You know, kind of deal. And my husband didn't want to deal with it. It was my husband's uncle. And my husband's mom was just like, oh, it's all Trisha's fault. Just leave it alone. She's like, Trish is mad at you and just, I can't help it. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, both of you are awful. And I agree, red flag. So for me, I was like, red flag. Mm-hmm. Well, when we moved back to the other house, he also happens to live across the street. And he came to me crying. And he says, Trish, I don't understand and nobody will talk to me. And I told him, I said, I want you to understand, number one, I'm about to tell you why. And he's like, but why haven't you told me before? I said, you're a man who is not my family. Mm-hmm. It's not my job to be the one to tell you. Biblically, it's not my job to be the one to tell you. The first person who should tell you is my husband, because man to man, you are family. That's who should tell you. The next person is his mother, your sister. And they both weaned out. And I can't help it. It has now been 2 years. 2 years. And I will now tell you, because at this point, it ain't ever going to get said. I said, you are not conscious that you make them uncomfortable. They don't want to be hugged. They're not touchy kids. And I mean, it's nothing more than the fact that he just wants a hug. My kids don't want a hug. My kids don't want to sit on anybody's lap. My children are not touchy people. And as easy as that is to be like, no, he can't understand it, where he's like, well, come here. Mm-hmm. And, you know, then on top of it, my kids don't want to have a big spectacle made of them not wanting to do it.
Right.
And that's what it came down to. Mm-hmm. And for him, this is such a foreign idea mm-hmm. that he could never understand it. So he would almost harass them and make more spotlight of it instead of letting it rest. And because of that, they didn't want to be around him. Mm-hmm. And so I told him, I said, here's the deal. This is what you did. And when I tried to talk to you about it, you would not listen. So the only way we could handle it is by the fact that you could not be around my kids. And that was it. And you wouldn't listen. Mm-hmm. And he's like, when it was finally said to him just like that, he like all of a sudden realized, oh my goodness, I was a really jerk. I was a big jerk to them. And he was like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. And he goes, tell me what I can do now. And whatever the rules are, I will play by them. Because I understand if I don't play by the rules, you will never let me around. I said, that's right. I will never let you around. Mm-hmm. He goes, you tell me the rules and I'm there. I said, you won't be around my kids without me. And if they don't want to hug you, they don't want to hug you. Let them decide to hug you. Don't ever ask to hug them. Mm-hmm. And we're good. He immediately followed the rules. Immediately. He was like, that's what it was. I would have done that. He's like, if I would have realized that's what it was, he goes, I would have done it. I said, that's the rules. And the worst is I love him. And I like him. And I loved him to. I say I loved him to pieces. Because he went in for pneumonia. And he had COPD. And he got MRSA. He got MRSA in his lungs. And it went to his brain. He's still breathing, but he ain't alive. Because God had flooded our house didn't sell. He literally brought us together that we could make amends. And we did. And like while I was there, I'd run over and we'd have coffee in the morning because I loved him and I enjoyed him so much. He just crossed the boundary that he didn't understand about it. And he made it right with my kids and he didn't cross that boundary with them again. And he was just thrilled to be in their company and realizing that they just don't touch and they're not touchy people. Mm-hmm. and we were good. And we have been fantastic the last 6 months. I just saw him 2 weeks ago. And we, and I always get on to him. He's not a recovered alcoholic. He is an alcoholic. I mean, it comes natural by my husband, in the family. And it's hard. And I had to explain to my kids, I mean, because that's Uncle Bubba and Bubba, Bubba and Uncle Bubba, we crack jokes and all of that. And I had to explain it to the kids. And it was just like, and it's sad because it's not the COPD that killed him. And apparently if you get MRSA in your brain, it's like, it turns into cottage cheese.
Mm-hmm.
He's, they've already pulled the do not resuscitate. And I'm just looking back going, Lord, thank you so much for flooding my house. Thank you so much for making me go back there. No wonder why we haven't sold it, and it's sad because there's already family, because I've made it known. I said, we're not going to be there with him until he can learn and understand and come, not come at it like he knows everything, and comes with a humble heart. We're not going to be where he's at. And it's just it. I've already had people start giving me crap because they didn't know him and I fixed things. They didn't know that we got it all worked out because it wasn't their business. It was their business when they're like, why aren't you going to be here? I'm going to say, because we're not going to be there when he's there, because he's yet to come to terms with what we need. And my husband drug his feet about fixing that. My mother-in-law decided to tell him it's because I hate his guts, and all of that. And, we haven't even buried him, and they're all ticked off and, the whole 9 yards. And I'm just kind of like, I don't really care what you have to say. Him and I got it right. Mm-hmm. We finished it right. Mm-hmm. But anyway.
Well, and I think too, there's definitely a message there, which is if you're praying for something over and over and over and nothing's changing,
there's something else going on.
There's something going on. God is working on something. We don't know what it is, but he has plans for you, and they are not to harm you. Mm-hmm. So just hang on tight and see what a miracle the Lord is working on for you. Mm-hmm. But I'm glad that you had that time of reconciliation and that he was a part of your life before he got sick.
And so that's good. Well, and he's only been sick a week.
Yeah.
Besides the fact he's always been the picture of not health.
Right.
And I'm always like, stop eating sugar and get off the vodka, And I like it because he'd let me shoot straight at him, and he thought it was funny because he knew I loved him enough to tell him right. And and the other part is we didn't have reconciliation upon our deathbed.
Right.
We had reconciliation 6 months ago.
Right.
And in the last 6 months, we got to live life back on terms that we all can agree on and love each other and be a part of each other's life.
Right.
So that was fantastic. Yeah. That was absolutely fantastic.
Right. That's wonderful.
So, anyways, that's my.
And I have to say too, I also want to chime in and say, good for you for standing your ground and being a good mama. We've had to do that, not with family, but with friends of family that hang around a lot. We've also had to do the uncomfortable thing and say, our kids are not going to be there when they're there. And, and it has come to blows kind of thing, but you do what you got to do. You protect your kids.
I've pulled that a few times, and the one and it's been mostly on my husband's mom's side of the family. They have a hard time with boundaries, and it's not that we've had an issue where something's happened, but they just make our children uncomfortable. And my dad taught us growing up, if this is not a place for you, if this is a place that's going to make you uncomfortable, or I feel as though the environment is questionable, we don't need to go. Exactly. And it doesn't matter how much I want to go. It's about you guys and how it affects you. And so I learned that. And I've had a lot of downfall from that, even from my mother-in-law. Even from when I laid it out with Uncle Bubba, and I said, this is how it is. Mm-hmm. And the typical comment I get is, we've never met anybody in our life that will so guardedly guard their children like you. And they're like, and I've been apologized to. They're like, I'm sorry if I get angry at you, but this is not something I've ever seen before in my life, and I love it when I see it from you. So they don't always like the consequences that go with it,
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, my kids come first.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got to answer to God about that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and let me tell you, I got people who don't like me.
Yeah. Right.
But, you know, I don't answer to God about that. I answer to God about what I did or didn't do.
Right.
And if I'm not protecting them, who is?
Exactly. Well, you're charged with their protection. So that's, yeah.
All right. I'm going to pray for us because we got to go.
Yeah. Yeah. But we're going on 2 hours.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know how we do that. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the time you bring to us together, Lord. There's so many of us that are dealing with anxiety and depression. Lord, you know how it's affecting us. You know how it's affecting our loved ones. Lord, I know that's not from you. Lord, I know that's not from you. I know that's from us being outside of your will. I know for me, it's for me being outside of your will. And I know that there's things I could do that I could do better, take care of what you've given me to be in charge of. And yet I'm putting my own will in front of it, Lord. Or I'm letting the world decide to tell me, or I'm being in the world's will. Lord, there's so many of us that are fighting the depression and the anxiety. And Lord, I'm not even beginning to say that it's all in our head. Lord, this is chemical. And you know it. You're the great physician. Lord, give us balance. Let us seek out the balance. Let us seek out the light. Dear Lord, it is becoming more aware every day about the number of children going missing. You know the evil that's walking around taking those children. Lord, be with those children that are missing, that are being exploited. Dear Lord, be with their families that are missing them. Bring them back together. Hold a hedge of protection around them and give them the light to get out. Lord, thank you. Let's just praise you, Lord, as you deal with, as you're bringing home that adoption we've been praying for Asbury, Lord. Thank you. Lord, thank you as we've prayed for Peace and Pantry's son's job and that it's come. Lord, we're coming to you in prayer again for Paul, the dad of 10, as he's going through chemo. Lord, he's your servant. Lord, and we know that you have a will in there for him. Lord, be with those that are serving in our military that are deployed. Lord, those that their mothers are anxious, their wives are lonely. Lord, and be with those that are there serving on the ground. Let their hearts draw to you. Lord, be with Bandana, Grandma's daughters, as they deal with their surgeries and their fertilities. Lord, you know the heart that breaks for the mother that longs for that child that is not yet to come. Lord, just be with Chelsea. Lord, put a hedge of protection around Chelsea. You know the journey that she's going through of losing her mother, her grandmother, being in a place that's not welcoming or loving, and then to be with that one that's left to be in charge of her that is also growing sick. Heavenly Father, be with Peace and Pantry's husband as he's dealing with his job and his health. Lord, be with my Grace's sister as she's dealing with what she's dealing with her placenta at 31 weeks. Lord, calm her anxiety and her worry. Lord, be with the hands and protect that child. Lord, be with Amanda as she's dealing with her job and pregnancies. Lord, be with Asbury as things hurt and give her relief. And be with Mayhay as she's also going through this. Lord, there's those that are dealing with their husband fighting for his life. Lord, there's times as a wife we can become expectant that our husbands are going to be everything we want them to be. In many ways, we expect them to fill the needs and holes that you have called us to call to you for, and yet we want our husbands to be that person, and then we're angry because he's not.
Yes, Lord.
Lord, there's times that we get angry with our husbands because we don't want to see them as broken flesh just as we are, but we want to see them perfect to meet our needs. Lord, you never called us to find a perfect husband that's perfect in his flesh. Lord, there's never been one that's perfect in their flesh except for Jesus. Lord, let us have the grace you give us when we are not perfect in our flesh so that we can be having that same grace towards our husbands when he's broken in his flesh, and to our children. Lord, thank you for unanswered prayers. There are so many times we come to you and petition with things that seem so right to be answered, and yet you don't answer them. Thank you for the blessings of those opportunities to bring much bigger blessings we didn't even know to ask for. Lord, with those that are leaving us, let their journey in death be painless. Let the things that need to be said, and give healing and grace to those that are left behind. Dear Lord, thank you for the blessings you give us to always come together, to lead the conversations, to have the fellowship, as we continue to work hard in serving as mothers, as wives, as daughters, as homekeepers, as multitasking, working moms. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the blessing that you give us and the community that you brought forth. In your Son's precious name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. We'll see y'all later. Didn't know we're coming in crying. All right.
Thanks, ladies.
All right. See y'all later. See you next week.